So here we have Gaz Roberts. How are you, Gaz?
I'm good, thank Michael. You?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm good. It's nearly Christmas, and yeah, it's getting
It
dark.
is, and I feel so underprepared this year for Christmas. It's unbelievable. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not sure where this year went, to be honest.
no, did go in a jiffy, but yeah. So, Gaz, I mean, yeah, listeners to the podcast and followers will have seen Gaz, of course, racing in Team GB, one water race, which was awesome, and we'll definitely touch on that. But Gaz, so people can get to know you. I mean, I've known Gaz since for a few years from the mountains, but he's also was did a few swim runs early on. So, Gaz, what? Tell us how you did your first swim run back in whenever it was.
Yeah, well, Michael, I think I slipped into it really. Not done as many, swim runs as certainly you and the others in the team, but I did my first one pre-COVID, so it was 20. It was either 18 or 19, but I've just come out of an injury, and I've got an amazing coach, and we can maybe talk about Joel in a bit. But one of these other athletes, we decided to do Jersey swim run. Was it Brecker?
Yeah, yeah,
And what a race! What a race! Totally underprepared. First swim, lost my Fenix 5, I think it was. Came off, got smashed by someone with paddles coming across us. Totally gutted when I got out of the swim and there's no watch on my hand. Because we know what us technophobes are like with our Garmin's. Literally, absolutely gutted. And my partner Paul Bauer, really good swimmer, very similar on the running. But yeah, we had a really good race, and I think you mentioned it on might have been the last podcast. I mean, it's got a 21k, run in the middle there, or backloaded, but great race, loved it. And then I'd actually put my name down for Breck Gower the following year. So it would have been 2019 definitely, and then 2020 obviously I had my name down for Gower, and obviously we went into the dreaded pandemic. So
okay,
yeah,
cool.
that
So
was my
Jersey,
first hurrah into swim run.
that's a tough first one. That's 50 plus k. Did you have? What did you have? Or did you have paddles or what did you have? Did you have any gear?
I We did. I had these paddles that I thought would be excellent from Decathlon that have these it's really have a little post that you stick your finger in and it pops up and down, which I thought was excellent. Unfortunately, I fell over a couple of times on the runs. It's quite hilly. If anyone's ever done it, even the sprint is particularly difficult. So I think I fell twice, smashed my head. Luckily, there was a doctor running behind me, and the team behind me had a quick look at my head because I gashed it open, and I managed to break my paddle. So at the next checkpoint, I threw my paddles away. Obviously, I didn't want to be a litter bug. And then you really notice a difference swimming without paddles when your lead swimmer is a better swimmer than you and he has paddles, to the point where I think the second swim after that we swapped, and I took his paddles off him. So, but yeah,
I
that
did.
was a great race.
Yeah, cool, man. Did you have any pool boys?
I did, but it was just a peanut. Just again a
Right. Yeah.
decathlon cheap special.
Yeah.
And obviously we know a lot more now. I think you might have seen it, Mike, an old Colting
Oh yeah.
swim run wetsuit was perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a first hurrah, and
Cool.
we had a great race.
Yeah. No, that's
I think
that's.
I think we came. I think we were fourth pairing over the line, and was really surprised. But yeah, no, we made a lot up on that run. To be fair, and we were going backwards on the swims, but that was partly due to me and my lack of equipment.
Yeah. Well, it saved your hand, baby. That paddle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. No, that happened in Malta the same year. Actually, I fell randomly near the like probably 400 meters in or less than that. Sprinted and I fell over, and had my paddles on my hands because the swim was quite soon. and I went sliding on these paddles forwards, and it was annoying to fall over, but it did save my hands for sure. So yeah, good protection. But okay, that's the best way to start, where you kind
Yeah.
of haven't got really, you don't know what you're doing, and you just go bang, and it's good fun.
I'd been wanting to do one, so I was fortunate enough to do a sports massage course back in 2014 into 15, and we had this Swedish lady doing it as well, and she said she obviously knew I'd do a bit of triathlon, etc. And she told me, Gaz, you need to get into this swim run. Otillo, didn't have a clue what she was going on about. And they just done the one in Switzerland. What begins with E?
Engadin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she was showing me the photographs of that, and I was like, yeah, I definitely want some of that. But obviously, life just got in the way. And yeah, our first one was in 2019.
Cool, man. Cool. So you're from like a triathlon, ultra running kind of background.
Military, I'd say
Well,
military background. Really, that's
yeah.
where it all started. I think leaving the army back in '97. I just wanted to stay fit, so I used to go out running with my backpack. And interestingly, I did a triathlon in the army. I got some photographs somewhere back in 1990.
Cool.
I was stationed out in Germany, and I've got some pictures of me doing the swim. It was only a sprint, but yeah, did a triathlon back then. So it's very very early days of
Yeah.
triathlon.
Wow.
Mountain bike, proper old school. But yeah, it was a great day. So yeah, I think that's where it stems from, Mike. Really, and then from there, someone said to me when I was out of the army, "Why don't you do a triathlon?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that," and just got into it from there.
And then you went on to do lots of other things, and Marathon de Sables was
Yeah,
like a
yeah, that
multi-day.
yeah, that was back in 2017, and I loved that race. You've met Jim,
Yeah.
Mike Jackson, etc. We did that together, and we pretty much did the whole thing as a threesome. And it reminded me of being back in the army. To be fair, the tent life was superb. It was tough. Don't get me wrong. It was hot, but having that camaraderie there was just like being back in the army. Loved it. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily go back because once and done, but and I don't think we'd have the same experience second time.
Hmm.
But it was such a great week of my life and some great memories and some great friends.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. And now, I mean, we obviously had a big kind of year and a half, couple of years really, focusing on the one water race there, and it's coming on my mind again. Not, I'm obviously not applying, but uh, it is that time of year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where this time last year we'd had our application in and all that stuff, and yeah, it's all coming back to me. I've only just sat down in the last few days, and I read the race reports from each team, which are online, and it's just all coming back now because I haven't. Yeah, it's just been a busy time since then, really. And I wanted to like just have a little walk down memory lane on it. Really, that time in Alhoma, how just to help. And I don't know who's applying. I know some teams who are applying, but I'm not going to talk too much about them because it's up to. Hopefully they'll get through. Then we'll talk all about them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So yeah, so it's a really exciting time. But yeah, just that time in Alhoma, I was reading Helen Wickmar's race report from Team Sweden, and it was just the things she reminded me of with the firm. I remember the morning of the race, which is the Tuesday, really early, and I went to the kitchen, and there was this big, massive pan of boiling water.
Yep.
And I was like, what's that? What's going on? And people, I won't say who, but people were filling up the thermos flasks. And I was thinking, well,
Big,
yeah,
big
big.
flasks.
Yeah, yeah.
Big.
I was like, well, that's obviously a really good idea, but I don't know if we're allowed to do that. I went to the toilet, I came back, and the big pan had gone of boiling water. So someone must have said something. And I thought, well, they can't have. I mean, where has it gone? And it'd been moved into the kitchen. So I went into the kitchen and filled up a couple of our little mugs up. But yeah, Helen mentioned that on her race report, which is quite funny.
That was yeah. I think obviously takeaways from that race for me. There's lots of them, and it was a great race, and it is a race that keeps giving, Mike. Because obviously we got the information this week. We're getting photo books each. I mean, look,
Yeah.
well, it's brilliant. It's amazing. But yeah, that morning was definitely an eye opener, and I think my takeaway from that, Mike, is that whole race we were very British. The rules are the rules, and we tried not to we tried to keep with inside them, and I think others did what they needed to do. And I think experience helps. Going back next time, if you was to go back, you'd know that you could take slightly bigger flasks, and that would have made your life a lot easier on the boat, not trying to jump off a boat and fire up a little jet boil and boiling water for us. Live and
Yeah.
learn.
Oh yeah, 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 for sure, for sure. And yeah, so and then I remember someone said it might have been Kayla. Right, we had a good chat with Kayla, and all of the guys who'd done it before. They all had a look. The ones who'd done it before, they all looked at us and knew. They were like, "Yeah, you you don't know what's coming here, guys." So it was like, and we kind of like, yeah. Yeah, and it was just one of those that you had to go through. But remember, she said, I think it was her, or maybe it was Justin. The first for the support driver, it's mental. So you get the maps, the teams go off, then you've got to get to your boat and get to the first meeting point as quick as you can. Um, so that first hour zoomed around. I think we were third to leave the harbour. Zoomed around to where we thought you would be coming out, and then
Yeah,
our first
we know where
mistake.
we know where this is going. Yeah, yeah.
So
I relive it. I'm not someone that has regrets, but I relive that moment time and time again. But yeah, I mean, it was disappointing, but I think it was listening to Kayla's podcast from the other week. I don't think certainly we realised how fast that first day was going to be. To be fair, but that first checkpoint, that was, we can look back, we can analyze it, but that was definitely rabbits in the headlight, I think.
yeah,
And again, what we should have done is shoulda, coulda, woulda. We should have just grabbed the maps and followed everyone else, because I think that's pretty much what 90% of the team's done. But hey ho, spilt milk.
yeah, 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 yeah. But
It all
you were so
happened
yeah,
so
so fast.
fast.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure Ree she'll listen to this, and she'll be kicking me and Chris, because the amount of times we run past that first buoy. And the annoying thing is you get shown something, you get told something. But I was still expecting the big boys that you see through most of the previous videos, even though Thomas, probably about half an hour previous, had shown us this little cube and said this is what some of the boys are like. But I don't think you realise, certainly for us, it's easy when you're looking in, but for us, it was, it's quite nerve wracking certainly that first hour, and
yeah,
making those mistakes made it worse. I do remember there was one point where Ree got quite angry with me, but we got there. But Ree did see it, to be fair, and when we looked across the shoreline, and at that point we was probably, because we'd gone the wrong way, we were about, I reckon, look back, we're about 300 or 400 meters away from it, and Ree said to me, "Is that it there?" And I went, "Oh, it could be," because you could see this. It looked like a rock on the end of the rocks. It looked like a rock just stood there. And obviously we went running off, and I think it was just blind panic. But we got there, Mike.
yeah,
We got
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. It picking. So that was one of those things. But it was you're like so
Every
close.
team made every team made mistakes. It just happened that ours was
Yeah,
at the start in front of everyone. And to be fair, I don't think we expected. I certainly didn't expect a checkpoint so close to the start. But again, I'm sure they do different things every year just to try and sort of mix it up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was it. Was all as a few things added up together. The speed of it, the kind of expecting it to be, yeah, 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 all that stuff,
I mean, we started
and
again. It's always a collective. We started to draw on the wrong map to start with. It was on. We were drawing on the big map, not the small map. And then
yeah,
I haven't actually watched it back, Mike. To be fair, because I don't need to. It's all in my head. I just remember when we stood up and Chris and Ree had run off at 100 miles an hour, and my eyes hadn't adjusted to the bounce, and all I could see was the French team just in front of Chris and Ree, and Chris was shouting back, "Are you ready?" And I went, "No." So we stopped, gathered ourselves, and then went off again. By that time, the French team had gone. They'd disappeared. But yeah,
Yeah,
hey
yeah,
ho.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's but when we were when you got you pulled it together, yeah, it was a really like yeah, it's a tough thing that happened right at the start. Um, but then yeah, once you'd settled into the race, it started moving brilliantly, and you know
It's all
that's it.
that's one of the regrets, but that's the rules are the rules, aren't they, Mike? And yeah, yeah. I think I certainly, and I know that Chris and we could have finished, but never in the time of 60 hours. And yeah, that wasn't. You soon realised that was not a possibility for how we were moving. But I'm pretty confident we could have got there. But hey ho, we'll never know.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
this is the thing, like the I I thought we before the race, I thought there was a chance we could get to the end. My main concern was that speed, was that staying within that, and within that, the almost the problem with the navigation was you and Chris were good navigators in Wales and Scotland and the Lake District, not necessarily under pressure, but we
yeah.
knew that you're good navigators in the UK. We didn't have that experience of that pressure cooker of navigation in the Swedish archipelago of that style of navigation, if you like, orienteering and that. But putting that aside, then having to be so fast to keep up with
Yeah.
Team Sweden,
It, it,
Australia, and Hugo's team, Hugo Desiree, Lars, and Nicholas, who pushed and then obviously didn't finish in the end. But it's and now I'm thinking. I was talking to Kayla, who may or may not be applying. How if Daniel, Kristen, Adriel, and Johan perform like they did this year, can you keep up with them?
I do, from personal experience, you need to put a team together with also the experience of the race, and also, maybe some mixed teams from across the sort of spectrum. But you need that experience. You definitely that experience of the race. And I think, like we said before, Mike, it's potentially a project,
Yeah,
because you are chasing, the two top teams that are phenomenal. When we got in that boat, when we finally got pulled and we jumped in the boat to go to the to Brigand. I mean, how long did that take? It was ridiculous to see that vast amount of space that the winning team were in front was ridiculous.
yeah,
That really put it in perspective for me, and awe-inspiring, these people.
yeah,
But it's great to rub shoulders with these people as well. I mean, to be fair, I always thought a little bit out of my comfort zone. Little old me. You're up against professionals in some of the sports. It was awe-inspiring for someone like me. I loved it. It was a great
yeah,
experience. But I definitely felt, certainly on day one, even for me, I think we'd done a lot of training, and for me, we'd done a lot. Maybe we'd done too much training, and not enough orienteering, racing in that perspective. And I think maybe I should have done a little bit more speed work, because I was more, slow and steady. Which, obviously for next year's, world champs, if I'm successful to get into that, then I'll certainly be doing a lot more speed work for that one.
yeah, 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 yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a couple of things. I mean, it's hard to. I wanted when I put the team together, I wanted it to be all GB, which is already a challenge because there's no one in Great Britain who had race experience or one more to race. So putting obviously, you know, putting in someone who maybe from another international team who'd done it before with another team would have maybe helped. But there's a couple of things I would have loved to have done, and I knew it beforehand, but just time. There's only so much time we've got, right?
Yeah.
But I did want to be an ultra runner, media runner last year. I mean, but I couldn't
Yeah.
for time and money and commitments, etc. But that would have been an amazing learning experience. The other thing I wanted us to do, but I couldn't find when we could do it, was a small adventure race in the UK. There was one in Ireland that I thought we might be able to do, but it's just the dates. So we did as much as we could do, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know,
We
yeah,
certainly got on the start line in
yeah,
fine fettle,
yeah,
from that perspective. But it isn't just your normal race. You rock up and off you go. There is all those other elements. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's special. And I pretty much knew on that first day the pace probably needed to be higher. But I knew that if we'd have gone faster, I probably would have blown up. But I'm a slow and steady would have gone on forever.
yeah. I think that would have worked. But we couldn't have anything go wrong, and and our go wrong was really early on, wasn't it? Like,
Well, we had
yeah,
a couple, and
yeah,
there was a later, I wouldn't say error, but again we followed the rules. We wasn't allowed to go along a particular road, and actually there was a path along the road, and I think you read into it. Could we have gone along the path? And we lost an hour and a half there.
yeah,
I feel that Lady Luck wasn't on our side that day. We did get it together. Certainly going into the night, that was phenomenal. The night swims were out of this world, brilliant. I've got so many great memories of that race, and it was an experience, and I feel very humbled to be able to do it and do it with you, Mike, and Ree and Chris. Phenomenal athletes.
yeah. It was even though we had that early disappointment, we still, you guys in particular made it very, very special, and it's still like pulling me back. Like now I'm talking to you, and I'm sure you're the same. I know, and Ray and Chris, it's got something about it which that's just hard to
I
explain.
mean, the other two, and certainly you've got a few more years in you yet, Mike. For me, I'm 55, 56 next year. I know age is a number, but I think as well for that type of race, if you want to be, you've got to be quick.
Mm.
You need to be quick, and slow and steady on day one doesn't cut. You've
Yeah,
got to be.
I don't think I myself I don't think I've got the land speed to be able to complete that, even if everything goes right. So yeah, well, there we go. But that's not necessarily should necessarily stop you applying
No, no,
necessarily,
no,
because
definitely. And
I think probably again there's maybe 70% of the teams who go on the start line next year won't finish.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
just it's hard to admit that, and it's not necessarily land speed that gets you. It could be a bee sting, a breathing problem, a
Yeah,
fever,
exactly.
or anything.
Anything.
There's so many things that can hit you.
I think
So
they had a lot
so
of
yeah,
medicals last year, didn't they? Or this year. I
yeah,
keep saying last year. It's this year.
yeah. So yeah, good, awesome guys. Whoever's applying, loving
Good
it. I'm
luck.
loving it, and yeah, I can't wait to see the
Yeah, I
teams
see they've
release.
extended the application, haven't they? So they've got till the end of the year now.
Yeah, 31st of December.
So
Yeah,
that says to me that there's a few teams out there that are just trying to pull in a few more people and just get their application ready. Because even that, that's not necessarily easy, was it, Mike?
no,
It's not just a couple of lines. Yes, we'd like to do it. So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
good times.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's for sure. So yeah, we touched on world champs there. So you've got an application in from you got some points from Uto with who've you teamed up with there, guys?
Well, it's big thanks to you, actually, Mike. I think it wasn't your last podcast, but the podcast before that, Tamsin Clark was looking for a partner. I believe you may have mentioned my name to her afterwards, but yeah, we've been chatting, and I think we're evenly balanced. I think she's definitely a better swimmer than me. But one of the things you mentioned the other week on may have been that podcast actually, I'm not the fastest of swimmers, but what I did learn over the last year with, swimming with Chris and Ree, the paddles make a massive difference. And I experimented with different ones. And I was quite happily keep up with Chris and Ree with my paddles and my huge Arc Mega Plus pool boy. In fact, I think we swapped, Mike, didn't we? In the end, I
Yeah.
I had yours and you had mine, and that made such a big difference. Where I was quite say easy, but I was the weaker of the swimmers. But with all the training I did, my swimming came on leaps and bounds last year. So I think, I chatting to Tamsin, she's definitely a quicker swimmer, but I'll easily be able to stay in her toe.
Yeah.
I did say to her, I'll probably be able to give her, a couple of toes if she's feeling the strain. Running, I think we're very similar. So if we get in, Mike, it could be a good
It's
day in the office.
perfect match. I mean, yeah, I think in the pool she's definitely faster. I mean, I think in swim run mode, you'll be equally matched. I mean, I don't know what Tamsin's like swim. Well, I do actually, because I swam next to him. But yeah, I think really, really equal pairing anyway, we'll see what happens.
I think
Uh,
she might have passed us, Mike, at Uto,
I
because
think she
obviously
might have passed us
because
through.
because I think we were 10 minutes slower than her, and there is a good story there, Mike.
Yes.
So, me and Mike partnered at Uto, just again for one water race training. It was a great weekend, and I thought this was Mike's only swim run, I think, for last year. Or no, you've done
I
you
did
did a few,
Coniston as
but
well. Yeah. But
afterwards, yeah. But obviously, I think when I look back at that race, you were obviously gagging to do a bit of swim running. Obviously, we as a team had been doing loads of swimming and running, etc. So I'm stood there at the start line, not done a swim run for a long, long time. I'm completely zipped up, ready to go, chatting away with Mike. Ree and Chris are just in front of us, and all of a sudden, obviously, the klaxon goes. Off we go. Mike's gone off like the absolute clappers. I'm like with him, and if for those who don't know, you go straight into a hill. I'm literally got my suit done up, and I'm three-quarters of the way up, and I can feel my chest getting tighter and tighter and tighter. We'd overtaken Chris and Ree at this point, and I'm like, "What are we doing?" Um, and by the time I got to the top of the hill, I said to Mike, "I've got to stop." Literally, I was in all sorts of trouble, and that was all because of constriction on my chest. But it took me quite a while, Mike, to sort myself out from that. And I quickly learned there that one, I should have been unzipped to start with because it was a 1,500 meter run. I think it was it to the first swim, and two, I hadn't done enough sprint training in my build up, because I thought it was a training weekend. But it was to be fair, it was a great weekend because we did a lot of work that weekend. And yeah, night swimming that night after the race. Next day, we pretty much covered most of Uto. But yeah, what a weekend.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. And didn't you have I mean, it's a good point on the chest compression. Did you have the Arc kangaroo top as well?
Yes, I mean,
Yeah.
we all love talking about equipment. So I had the Arc Thermal,
Right.
because remember that the weather was particularly strange for that time of year. We knew that the water temperature was freezing in some points. When I say freezing, cold for me, but I think even you, Mike,
Oh
did
yeah,
particularly
there
say
was a couple
that.
8 degrees. A couple of the swims
Mm,
were 8 degrees. Yeah.
yeah. So I had my Arc. I think it was my Orno X, or did I have my
Probably
Uto
the
on?
USO. Probably
I,
the
I
USO.
think I think it was the Uto and the thermal. I think if I hadn't had the thermal on, I would have struggled in the water. But then obviously out of the water, it got quite warm a few times. But yeah, and I think even Tamsin mentioned it. There was that one swim, and we the last sort of, was it the final 15? We didn't tether, and I think, say Tamsin mentioned it, got smashed by that wave. And there didn't appear to be any support boats around, and I was thinking this just wouldn't happen in the UK. This wouldn't happen, but obviously I swim in the Solent quite a lot. Part of South Sea Swim Run, yeah, swimming in the seas, obviously what I love. But
Yeah.
that made me laugh. I remember giggling because there was a little bit of surf there, giggling and looking back to see where you were. You disappeared, and then you was next to me. But yeah, that was brilliant. Loved it.
Yeah, no,
It was
that
a
was an
great, it was a
awesome. It was a
great
brilliant
race.
swim. Oh, it's a great race, Uto, and
It is.
that's where I'll always remember that one because yeah, big waves smashing from the right to left.
Yeah,
To be honest, you don't want any support crew there because they'll probably end up on top of you. It's just,
exactly.
so that was good. But on that point with the kangaroo top and the wetsuit, the fact it was zipped up did obviously hinder. Yeah, it was a fast uphill start in the sunshine. But with the Arc kangaroo top as well, it's extra compression, isn't it? And it's
Yeah.
all of that factor.
And I think, as we know now from One Water, that a few people there went down with, is it SIP, wasn't it? Swimming induced
Yeah, I think so.
pul-
Yeah.
pulmonary edema, wasn't it?
Edema. Yes,
But
that's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, and I think that's to do with cold water and compression. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely things to learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to go off like the clappers. If you are, then make sure you cab down,
Yeah.
or at least got your zip undone anyway.
Yeah. So cool. So that'll be. Well, yeah. Good luck. We'll see what happens when they pull out the names out the hat or whatever they do. Hopefully, get over there. I've applied with Will Raymond. We haven't got as many points actually as yourself, so we'll see how we get on. I know it's going to be a popular year. It's the 20th anniversary year, so
Excellent.
yeah, it should be good fun. And have you got? I know you're doing the ultra. Is it 100 miler next year?
Yeah, I was sat after One Water race. Obviously, you're always pondering what you want to do. I knew I wasn't going to do One Water again, or not a racer. Maybe as a crew, etc. So I was sat at the airport. Me and my wife were off to Canada, and I was like, yeah, I need to tick the box with the 100 miler. I should have done Lakeland 100 back in 2023, but unfortunately, I got a bucket handle meniscus tear 2.5 months out. So obviously that put pave to that. So yeah, I thought let's do it. So it was going to be either one in Snowdon, or Brecons, or maybe Lakeland 100. But I didn't have any. I was out of the qualifying criteria for Lakeland 100 again. So it obviously would have meant going back doing another 50 or another 50 miler somewhere else. So I just thought no. So I've gone with GB Ultras and doing the Beacons Way 100. Which obviously goes over the Brecons. So it should
Nice.
be fun.
Is that
Yeah,
a point? Is that a point to point or?
it is a point to point. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not really looking forward to that. Yeah, so I'll be heading over to the Brecons. I live down in Portsmouth, so I'll be heading over there. It's about a 3-hour drive. A few weekends in my van, get some good miles, get some height, get some elevation in.
Yeah. So where does it start and finish then?
It starts in. Now you've asked me, Mike. It starts in. I want to say Abergavenny Castle,
Okay.
and it finishes somewhere on Beacon's Way.
So somewhere else.
I haven't got that far yet, Mike.
No, it's like because I didn't know that you could do a point to point that long in the Brecon Beacons. That's why. Which I need
obviously
to
the
look at
Brecons
that.
are part. Yeah,
Or
the
part
Brecons are
part
part
of it, and
Yeah,
then it
yeah.
goes into whatever the Black Mountains and
But it's
yeah.
pretty
Okay.
lumpy. I mean, it's the same. I think it's virtually the same elevation as Lakeland 100, so just over
Wow.
6,500 meters. And I
God.
think GB Ultras races, they do a Snowdonia one.
Yeah.
Just the dates didn't work out. And I think the Snowdonia one goes over Snowdon, but I think that was slightly less in elevation.
Right. God, it's
So
surprising, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, I was surprised. I was expecting it the other way around. So yeah, want to get that ticked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing your half. Is it your half
Oh
marathon?
yeah. Abu Dhabi Half Marathon.
Yeah. When's that? When's that one?
4th of April.
Yeah,
It's
got
a
that
tough one.
Yeah. Well, I did the aquathon last year with Ree, which we covered some of that course, didn't we?
Yeah. We did.
Yeah. Very lumpy if anyone's been down that way. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I think we're gonna do something in May time, aren't we?
We are. We're going to do something. We'll keep it under wraps.
Yeah.
It's a top secret project. hopefully bringing the team back together. But we'll see what happens.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, I've done loads of events with you, though, Mike. Obviously, Welsh 3000s a couple of times, Atlas Mountains, numerous beat the tides, guided swims. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
for anyone out there, Mike puts on a great event.
Oh, thank you, Gaz. Thank you. And speaking well, the mountains, I guess. I know you were looking at Rockman. Now I know you probably put that to 2027.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but remember Andrew Barber who came? Who
Yes.
was he? I
Yeah. Yeah.
mentioned it to him, and he's up for it, by the way.
Oh, is he
But
really?
yeah. But we'll talk offline about
Yeah,
that.
definitely,
But
definitely.
I think it'd be a good match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Andrew.
So
I
yeah,
I remember doing the Welsh 3000 with him as well. He was like a mountain goat.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
every time I looked around, he was gone.
yeah.
And he didn't he won one of the eliminators, didn't he?
He won Tally Clinn's swim run.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So yeah, he's a good enough swimmer, and yeah,
Yeah, because
I think
Tamsin knows him obviously from that event.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So cool. And I mean, I guess swim run wise, depend. I suppose it depends whether if you get into the world champs, like what other things might happen. But I guess you'll
Yeah,
meet
we've
up with
got
Tamsin
me and Tams
potentially.
have been
Yeah,
talking, looking
yeah,
at doing Studland.
yeah. Cool.
Studland together. Obviously, it's down on the south coast, which is
Yeah,
great for me.
yeah,
South Sea swim run. I think they want to do a big sort of event over there as well. So get as many of the team members over there as possible. So that's good.
yeah,
I think Tamsin wants to go back to Buell, Buell Water. I've got some bad memories of that place actually. I did a triathlon there years ago. I decided it was an Olympic distance, and I decided just to. It was warm enough not to wear a wetsuit, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it without a wetsuit. Biggest mistake, one of my biggest triathlon mistakes ever. Everyone decided to wear the wetsuit, and literally, I think I came out of the water nearly last. Um, and yeah, from that moment on, I always thought if there's an opportunity to wear a wetsuit, I am wearing my wetsuit because it
yeah,
it makes a massive difference.
yeah. For sure. I mean, speaking of that, how like you guys? I'm just going back to a one water race with that swim. That four, I think it was a 4.5K swim. That only Team GB and Team Australia Sweden did. The only two teams. I mean, not
We
that that's great claim, I don't,
Yeah,
but it was
I,
memorable.
I'm sure they did it a lot quicker than us, and I don't know if it was the time of day. We just caught a bad time. I remember you saying to us, we can make up some time here, and obviously we wanted to. Swim was horrendous for many reasons. Chris obviously likes his fuel. He's very orientated on having his fuel at specific times. And I think we quickly realised that was a problem in that water. I remember we stopped, we were going backwards. I remember at one point, me and Reed nearly went under the boat. It was ridiculous. And it was so cold, Mike. It was so cold. And I mean, I didn't realise we weren't actually going anywhere. I just kept looking up, and all I've got is Ree in front of me, a pair of feet, and then obviously you don't see Chris at the front. All I remember is this is taking a long time, and I was getting every time we stopped, I was getting so cold. Me and Ree, we struggled a couple of times, and I actually thought at one point because land didn't seem to be getting any closer. I thought if we're gonna get pulled, it's going to be on this swim. There was a couple of times where I thought this is freezing because we didn't have full wetsuits on at that point either. We just had our
No,
swim run wetsuits. I
yeah,
remember finishing it, getting off and getting out of the water, and it was blowing a gale. And then me and Ree were just stood on the side of this rock, absolutely freezing. I think that's when you run off and grabbed our dry robes.
yeah. It was,
Um,
yeah,
I mean, Chris was anticipating it was a 4.5K swim, and for those who don't know Chris, he's an absolute beast in the water, and he was expecting to do that in about an hour and 10. And he's really good on his timings as well.
mm.
What was it in the end, Mike? 2 hours and something?
I don't. No, it wasn't 2 hours.
Was it not?
No, no.
It was a long time, and it was cold.
It was a long
Um,
time and it was cold. Yeah, it was. No, it was. And yeah, I mean, yeah, that was the worst. That moment when you got out, because then the boat dropped me off, and he had to speed because the wind was whacking him in the back. The boat, it's quite a big boat. He couldn't stay where he dropped me off, and he had to zoom around somewhere around the side, and it was all going off. You guys were freezing, just trying to get things to you. Then race control phoned.
Race control, God.
He phoned the ultra runner. The ultra runner passed the phone to me. I was like, "This isn't a good time to talk." So, but after that,
You held your nerve though, Mike.
well,
You held your nerve.
well,
I knew
yeah, I had to.
for those who don't know, I mean, one water race, when you know things are getting a little bit bad when you get to the checkpoint and it's no longer a checkpoint; it's an orienteering flag with some tape, with some one water race tape around it. And I was saying to Ree and Chris that they obviously needed that buoy for further down the race. And that's where obviously the elastic, I think, on the logistics was starting to snap. We weren't quick enough. But yeah, yeah,
But yeah, that swim. So I think if we had the Aquasphere on for that swim, it wouldn't have been as bad. But all the teams were like, you read the race reports, talk to everyone else. Everyone was frigging freezing. It was like stupidly cold. So yeah, that's just the way
yeah.
it
I look
was.
back at all that, Mike. It's all it's character building, but it was cold. But as a team, we kept moving, and for some reason, even though the water temperature, I think once we put those Aquasphere suits on, they were phenomenal because they were so warm. It changed. It changed us. It changed the dynamics of the team. We got our shit together. And apart from Chris throwing his porridge in my bucket,
Yeah, yeah. Forgot about
everything was good. But I think we all knew it was coming.
that. Yeah,
But the final, getting pulled off of that race. But yeah, what an experience.
yeah, for sure.
A lot of people won't get to experience it, and I'm just so lucky and that I did.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, I mean, that is, I mean, it's that balance, isn't it? Of and it happens at the World Champs a little bit, not as much, obviously, because the swims aren't as long, and the day isn't. Well, it's only so many hours. But yeah, that whole thing about choosing it, like Uto with Rian, in particular, who's me and Chris had done loads of swim runs, and you hadn't done one for years.
Yeah,
And Ree's done she's only done the Eliminator, which is completely like a different style. And I think she did Tally Clean, which was a 12K one. But we probably if I in particular and Chris had maybe we tried to give advice on the kit for Uto. But in the end, it was really difficult because the water was fucking cold. The air temperature was okay and it was sunny. So it was one of those, you had to know your own body. You had to know your own choice. But
yeah,
if we'd managed to work out the best kit for Ree on that day, they would have been podiuming. Not that
oh,
wasn't the goal, but they were
yeah,
like a minute off the podium or something. And they
yeah,
had some terrible moments in the race.
yeah.
So that whole kit choice, is I love it. I mean, I do love it, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's super important. Like you said, it is down to the individual. I mean,
yeah,
I probably, looking at that race, I probably would have been better off with just my kangaroo, my arc kangaroo, not my thermal kangaroo.
mm,
But yeah, I mean, again, that comes with experience. I
yeah,
hadn't
yeah,
really, to be fair, I hadn't even. I'd worn both, in training here in Portsmouth, but not, in a race. And everything is different in a race. Totally different.
yeah, for sure. And yeah, as you say, I was gagging for it. I was like totally
Oh, look,
mad to
Mike's
go.
gone. There we go. There we go. There's off. Out
Um,
of hell.
so, but yeah, it was great. And then the next day was awesome, and the night we did some good mooching around on Uto, and yeah, it was good. It was a really good
It's
time.
a proper adventure, and that's what that's for me. That's what life's all about these days, Mike. It's about adventures and doing different things. And once upon a time, I may have avoided things, whereas now I sort of, instead of running away from challenges, etc., I run towards them these days. not that I do everything, but if people ask me, I think that I can do it, then I'll have a crack.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's a very good attitude, and I was I've been messing around while we were on the kit because I'm loving a bit of kit talk. I've been messing around with different paddles. Now, where did you get to? Because you had the Evolvent. Which Evolvent ones did you have? Carl's Crown or
No, I had the
XTD? XTD.
XTDs. Yeah, yeah. And again, Chris has got a plethora of. I've not known someone who's got so much swim run equipment, and I had the pleasure of spending a lot of time with Chris in training, etc. Going to his house, and I remember he's got a large Ottoman bed, and literally he lifts his bed up, and underneath it, because we all know Chris as well. It's not like just chucked in; it's all neatly stacked. This whole bed under this bed is just full of swim run equipment. Everything. And I remember trying some paddles on when we did some sessions at Chris's local swimming pool. During the winter. Yeah, we did some great days. But that's when I tried some the Evolvent ones, and even in the pool, I was able to stay with him. But these things were like dustbin lids, But they did have these weren't XTDs. These were something else, but they were Evolvent. But they had the big return down here,
Mm.
and they made a difference. But I didn't want to use them too much because I hadn't trained with them. Didn't want to pop my shoulders. But I started off like a lot of people with Arc plastic ones,
Yeah,
which I still use now in the pool. And I use the large in the pool these days, and then racing. I use my Evolvent XTDs.
yeah, cool.
I'm still toying with the fact of having some wooden ones, Mike. To be fair,
Yeah,
I just quite like I like that, and my brother's a carpenter, so I could always get him to throw some together for me, and I like and then you can tweak them,
yeah,
to your design. But yeah,
yeah.
Chris is always putting in an order to is it what's the guy's name? Is it Frederick?
Frederick Headland. Yeah,
Yeah, Frederick. He's always putting in orders in. So, but
yeah,
those paddles were phenomenal for me. Again, I'm not sure I could have stayed with Chris and Ree without those paddles. I think if Chris had had his way, he would have had me having bigger paddles. But I didn't. I didn't
no,
feel that I
mate.
needed them at the back. I was getting enough drag from
Yeah, no, those
from Ree.
XTDs were plenty big enough, I think.
And I do notice because I swim with them in the sea here. We get a lot of current here in South Sea. And if you're on a little bit of a wave, they're not so great. They literally catch the water and they slip under you. But yeah,
Mhm.
absolute rocket ship of paddle, and they do close the gap for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I've been training in the pool now with plastics and yeah, saving my carbons for race days or outside potentially, and yeah, occasional use. And I've got a top tip now, Gaz, that I've only just, and I don't give
Love it.
goggle tips often
Love a
because,
top tip.
oh, mate, this is amazing, right? So, if you've listened to the podcast, I wear any goggles really, but there's an offer on some Hoob goggles, very, very cheap. So a couple of months ago, it might have been Black Friday, I don't know what it was, but they were cheap. I thought, okay, give them a go. And I've been swimming with them for maybe 8 or 9 sessions with the film on. So most goggles come with a film on. And I thought, well, why don't I
Yeah.
just leave the film on and only take it off on race day?
Ah,
And they haven't fogged. I don't know if this is relevant or a coincidence, but they've not fogged up even a smidge with the film on. They've
this
also
is on the outside.
on the
Of
outside,
it.
yeah, yeah, which you
Wow.
wouldn't. I don't know if that's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not getting any scratches or
Yeah.
any abrasion or anything, and it's staying on. It's not like I thought it might come off. Oh no, but it stayed on 8 good sessions in the pool. So I'm going to keep the film on for that forever. And if I
Exactly.
use them on a race, I'll take that off. So that's my top tip to everybody.
I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm sure you could get extra film.
Well, yeah, probably, yeah,
If it doesn't come off, if it does come off,
yeah,
I'm going to try that
yeah.
because there's
So
nothing worse. I use Zone 3, and I can't remember the model, and I've used them forever. I
Oh
actually took
yeah,
them.
yeah.
They're not
I
the
know the one.
Predators.
Are they photo?
They're slightly bigger. That
Yeah.
mine ones I'm particular because I'm a bit of a cheapskate and I like a bargain. But they're Tim Don ones, so they've got the iridium sort of coating on the front, and they're blue and gold,
Mm,
but they're just so comfortable, and it is important having, especially when doing long swims,
yeah.
comfortable goggles.
Yeah.
Um, Something my wife is always, trying to look for those perfect goggles because she hates getting the old, the old eye suction on. She hates that.
Yeah.
Still looking for the perfect one.
Yeah. Well, the most comfortable ones I've ever had were actually Head. When back in the day when Head sponsored Head sponsored Erteleur, they brought out an Otelo specific goggle with the colours, the red and yellow, and they're so I think they were called the Tiger Pros. Head. They might even still do them. Head Tiger Pro or something like that. And the socket was such soft rubber, really
Yeah,
comfy. I must
that's
find them.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So shoes, Gaz. I mean, we love shoes, don't we? I mean,
We
all
do.
the run, all the miles you've put in on your feet. Let's have a little. I mean, I'm going towards looking at carbon options now. I don't know where you are at with that. What are your thoughts?
So yeah, I mean, I've got seem to have everything, but I've got, prior to One Water, it was all about Hoka for me. Had been Hoka for a long, long time. Um, since coming off of MDS, pre MDS, and in MDS, I used Pearl Izumi,
Right.
and they were fantastic. Very similar to the Hoka, the maximalist type shoe, but they decided to focus back on more cycling than running, so they stopped making them. So after MDS, I needed a new trainer. So everyone was jumping ship and going over to Hoka. So I went to Hoka specifically, Speed Goats, etc. And yeah, they've worked for me, really well. And then a couple of years ago, I tried the Tecton 2, so with the carbon plate.
Yeah.
Again, nice and light, really comfortable for me. So yeah, on a sort of race day, that's the type of trainer. Depends what race. If it's a long one like that 100 mile I'm doing next year, that's all going to be about comfort, not speed. So I doubt that I will wear them. But obviously, build up to One Water. You and Chris kept talking about the different rock out in Sweden, and I was like, what are they on about? Rock's rock. But little did I know it is slightly different out there, and so I purchased a pair of VJ Ultra Frees. I didn't want to go for I think Chris had the light speed, which obviously slightly racier. I think previous One Water race, a lot of the top teams had them on. Um, they don't have a carbon plate; they have a composite plate.
Right.
Um, so I didn't get them. I've still been tempted to buy a pair for the World Champs next year, actually, because there's a good price on one of the stores. But yeah, I went with the VJ Ultra Freeze, and they were super comfortable, but they are so sticky.
Yeah.
I think you've mentioned this before. Maybe it's a continental grip, but if I put them on now and walk downstairs, we've got a hard floor, and you can literally hear them
Yeah.
sticking.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Um, and I don't recall slipping once. I mean, I always fall over in every race I do, but I don't recall them slipping. When on the rocks. I never had any problems with the rocks, certainly in Sweden. So I'd definitely be wearing a pair of VJs for if the world champs, if I get in, whether it be the Ultra Freeze or it will be the light speeds.
Yeah. I mean, that's yeah. Wow. You didn't. Yeah, that's a good endorsement. I think it's their own custom grip. It's the Continental ones on all the Adidas, which is a good grip. But yeah, there's VJ one. I think it's their own. It, I wonder if it's. I wonder how durable it is because I've found the stickier the rubber, the quicker it wears out. But I've not. I've got the same VJ Max. I haven't tested it for.
No,
Yeah.
I've got the Ultra Freeze. You've got the VJ
Oh. Oh,
Maxes.
you've got the
I've got
ultra
the
right.
Ultra Freeze. So mine are even, so the stacks. It's like they're like Hoka Speed Goats. The
Okay.
stack's pretty high, and I think they've been. I'm a big fan of Ian Corliss,
Mm.
and he recommended them. during in one of his articles, and they've got some good reviews, the Ultra Freeze. So yeah,
Mm.
I'll definitely be buying a pair of them next. And again, as I mentioned earlier, a bit of a cheapskate from a price point. They're a lot cheaper, I found, than Hoka's.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, check out Ian Corliss, by the way, guys. He does some great reviews of trail running shoes, doesn't he? And event photography.
Yeah, amazing event photographer.
Yeah,
And I met him through MDS.
right.
Yeah, so yeah, he's a great guy, great photographer.
Speaking of
Very
photography, how's James?
James, as in Mr. Yardley.
No, sorry, Joel.
Joel, Joel,
Joel Jameson, not Joe.
getting me confused
Yeah,
there.
Joel
But Jim's
Jameson.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jim's good, very good. But yeah, no, Joel's really good. I mean, Joel's my coach, has been since just as I finished MDS. One of the guys at work had just got into triathlon, and he was smashing out these times, and I was like, wow, I need to get some of this. And I asked him, what he was doing, and he mentioned his coach, Joel Jameson. Didn't have a clue who he was. They were actually friends at school, so he sent me Joel's details, and we've been working together ever since. I didn't even realize at the time. I didn't Google him, and he just sounded really good and knew his stuff. It wasn't until we went on a tri camp, and Joel's thrown all these names out there, all the people he raced with, and I was like Googling him at the dinner table that night. Oh my God, he's actually a decent racer. But no, he does photography now as well, but he's still
Yeah.
my coach. So I'm part of Team Jameson, but also I'm coached by Joel Jameson. One of his athletes recently won Barcelona Ironman outright as an age grouper, but
Oh
he
wow.
won the whole event.
Wow.
Fraser. So if anyone checks that out, I think he done it in 7 hours 50 minutes as a non-pro. But he's going pro now. He's going pro now, and Joel's going to look after him.
Oh,
But
brilliant.
Joel's got an immense CV. He's really got into his fell running since he moved up to the Lake District. He won the lap. I think it was last year, 2024, with a new lap record. I think someone took that from him this year. So whether he's going to go back again and try it out, he is a Dynafit sponsored athlete who actually they sponsor the lap. So it'd be interesting to see what he's doing next.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. I think his photography is his passion. I think he quite often goes out running with Josh Wade. So for those who in the ultra running, he came third this year in UTMB. So quite often you'll see photographs of Josh. That's probably been taken by Joel while they've been out on their training runs.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, I was trying to get him into swim run, but I think he's left the swimming behind a little bit, and he's into the fells.
He's still a decent swimmer. We
It
did
probably is, isn't
training
he?
camp. We did a training camp 3 years. I think it was 3 years ago, and we had he doesn't swim. Literally doesn't swim, and we had this bet because his wife Kat, she's an amazing swimmer, and we had this bet that he couldn't jump in the pool and do a 120. He literally hadn't swum for forever, and he jumped in the pool and just pulled out a 117, I think it was. He was blowing out of his arse, but he still did it. And I think I might be able to pull out a 120 now, but that's it. That'd be me done. But and I'm swimming all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll keep chipping away at him.
Yeah, yeah.
The swim
I
run.
mean, I keep telling him what stuff I'm doing, and when I mentioned our little project that we've got for next year, he's going, oh, I've got to do something. I've got to get some races in the diary.
Yeah.
Because he actually fancied Rockman. I think it was playing on him, but again, it would have meant him getting back out swimming.
Yeah. 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 It's not. I don't know what the percentage of swimming is on Rockman, but I don't think it's massive. But yeah, there's a bit of swimming for sure. Cool. Well, Gaz, what haven't
We
we
could call,
covered?
we could talk forever, Mike. I know we do chat quite a bit, but there's so much going on. I mean, obviously, I'd like to big shout out to South Sea Swim Run, my local team.
Yeah.
Sarah King, And I know you know Sarah quite well, and Vinny. Vinny's, I think he's moved back to Brazil for a little bit. I
Oh,
think he's coming back for Christmas, but but the team continues to thrive, which is good. Again, they want to do a few events next year. It's good to see. But yeah, it's a good community now. It's getting bigger and bigger,
yeah,
which is what we want.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And hopefully, I mean, are there any youngsters in the South Sea swim run? Like, I mean, that's my
There's a few younger people, but
okay.
yeah, I mean, demographics. It's it does seem to be the slightly mature people. Yeah, I mean, I think it is trying to get those youngsters, into it. I think that's pretty much in all sports. I mean, I think triathlon has a good following, yeah, and I think again, I've heard you talk about it on quite a few podcasts. There's a natural sort of lean from triathlon into to swim run. It's trying to persuade those youngsters, because even I know some phenomenal swimmers, in the local club here. North Seas is a big swimming club here, and they've got some really young, some young talent. But it's just trying to make that switch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just yeah. We'll keep chipping away at them, and we'll see
Got
what
got to
happens
grow, got to
with
grow the sport.
yeah, exactly. We'll see what happens with this World of Triathlon Federation uh,
Yeah,
thing.
it can only for me that can only be a good thing. I mean, prior to the pandemic, numbers certainly seem to be a more positive, so it's there. But I think pandemic changed everything for everyone, But I think things are starting to get back to normal. I know that because I work in London, and they definitely want people back into London, more than obviously during and after the pandemic.
Okay, right, as in like into the office,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's a sore point that one, but yeah,
Okay,
back into the office.
right. We've got quite a few exciting things to come up now. The revealing of who's in the world champs, and the
Definitely.
revealing of the one water race teams for 2026.
Exactly. No, that's going to be really. That's going to be. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I think there's going to be some surprises in that. Um, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. And then following people like they followed us last year. It's going to be excellent.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, guys, I'll leave you to relax.
I've got
What?
a single bed to go and put up for Christmas. So I've got that to put up in a minute.
Oh,
So I'm going to go and do that.
okay, okay.
The duties,
Yeah, mum.
duties of a grandfather. So yeah, I have to
Oh,
do that.
okay. Cool, man. Well, thanks a lot, guys, for coming on, and it's
Yeah,
always
Mike.
great to talk to you.
Yeah, and you, buddy. Yeah. Cheers, cheers, mate. Have a good one.